Thank you for attending. You're the people that will make a difference in reducing fraud. My name's Alan Baker, and I'm the state webmaster for SIR, and I work with your branch webmasters around the state. About 10 years ago at my SIR branch luncheon, a member told me that he got a phone call from Microsoft. They told him that his computer had a virus and that they would fix the problem if he would just give them his credit card number and access to his computer. You can imagine how that played out. He got bogus charges on his credit card and they added malware to his computer. And that event is what motivated me to get involved in fraud prevention, first as a student and then as a teacher. Over the last 10 years, I've been working with AARP Fraud Watch Network and sharing information about avoiding fraud with SIR branches and other community groups. Last year, I hosted 4 webinars on fraud for California AARP. And last week, AARP brought me to Washington, D.C. for their National Fraud Fighter Conference. So why are we here? Today, we're going to talk about 2 things: how to prevent fraud at your SIR branch, and how to prevent fraud at your own computer or phone. This meeting came about because last month a SIR branch was victimized by some professional criminals. So it was a good time for us to talk about some of the methods that they use and some of the ways that we can avoid getting pulled into their scams. So first, let's talk about what happened to the SIR branch last month. The scammers created an email account that was similar to the Big SIR's email account. From that account, the scammer wrote to the new branch treasurer pretending to be the Big SIR, and he asked the treasurer to pay for a luncheon using a wire transfer. The treasurer believed him and wired over $1,000 to an account that the criminals controlled. To do this scam, the scammer pretended to be an authority figure, the Big SIR, and he targeted a particular person, the treasurer. This approach is called spear phishing. And to set up his spear phishing campaign, the scammer had to know first who the Big SIR was and who the treasurer was. So how did the scammer organization know this information? I don't know specifically, but I know a couple of ways that they might have gotten this information about the Big SIR and treasurer. One possibility is that a branch member's account was compromised and the Big SIR's and treasurer's email information was visible in there, possibly email or social media. And a little later, we'll talk about how to prevent scammers from gaining access to your email account or a website account. A more likely possibility is that the scammers found that information in the branch newsletter. A simple Google search brings up the branch website, including their monthly newsletters. Their latest newsletter includes a list of officers, and that is visible to the public. The list does not include email addresses, but elsewhere in the newsletter, the email addresses of both the Big SIR and the treasurer were listed because they are also coordinators of other branch activities. So let's talk about what information we should or should not expose to the public. This event underscores that it's a bad idea to expose the email addresses of your branch officers publicly on your website, especially your treasurer. Similarly, your newsletter shouldn't expose your officers' email addresses. That means that we should either omit that information from the newsletter or password protect it on the website. Webmasters and newsletter editors need to find the right balance of making information available to the members and to prospective members. Your branch's roster is another source of this information, so it shouldn't be directly available to the public. So now, do you have some questions about responding to fraud at a SIR branch? I'll take some questions and then we'll talk about how individuals can avoid fraud.